Nice to see you again, Axe.
Hey,
This
how
is
you doing?
all good, all good. So this is Richie's final day now of his memory lane, which he's been doing before he goes to university. You followed Richie through his journey. So, do you know what, Axe? I'm going to let you talk and Richie talk.
Well, Richie was a little boy, you were that big, and then he grew up so fast. But when I first met him, he was like really shy, and then he started opening up more and more as we kind of supported him and developed him. So there's me, you, and Dave. We all done that, and Richie, you picked up stuff really good. But what shocked me was how he was on the camera. I'd never seen anyone, not even adults, on the camera, the way he has his presence, his confidence, his presence, his articulation on the camera, the way he speaks, like for a little kid. I couldn't believe it, for a little boy.
How old was he when you first met him, Max? I can't remember now.
I forgot as well. I
5,
just know he was
6.
that big.
Yeah.
I was going to guess around 2013, so it would have been 9.
9. Oh
Yeah, 8,
gosh.
9.
8, I think 8. Yeah. So what it is that
You saw him in the house, didn't you, at Dave's?
I did, yeah. And he's grown up really well. He's done me proud. And then after he did all his film stuff like that, you went into your science and mathematics, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, you did your book first.
Yeah.
So he did his book first, and I was, he had his iPad. You were doing your book, and one day Richie goes, "I'm writing my book," and no one believed him except us, and I couldn't believe it, like he wrote a proper book that got published by Penguin Books, a sci-fi horror novel, and then he gave me the honor of doing the front cover with myself on it. That's what you wanted, didn't you?
Yeah.
So that came out. I was shocked, and then he got a t-shirt with my face on it and with the book cover, and I thought, wow, like that was a great honor. I was really happy. I was shocked, but he just picks things up so quick. And after that, he wrote quite a few books. Then he moved on to science and mathematics. He loves his mathematics and science, and I was just shocked, He just picked it up like that, and now you're going to university, But this guy knows his stuff. You like what's his name? Stephen Hawking, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sort of like a sort of variety of scientists, I mean, there are a lot of scientists that I like. Richard Feynman I like in particular because of how he used sort of humour in education to sort of reinforce sort of his, the way he delivered his findings and observations onto the sort of common brain, and sort of, including people into that sort of sphere of knowledge. So yeah, that's what I really liked. And there's a book, if you want to look at it, there's a book called Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman, which sort of incorporates a lot of his comedy and a lot of his scientific observations. And that's sort of the thing I like, and that's sort of the thing I want to do in the future. Not only communicating the information that I have as a scientist, but also collaborating that with my comedic presence and making sure that I can use that to introduce a whole new generation into science.
Exactly.
Well, what I like about Richie is that he's very analytical, and he won't give up. He'll just keep trying and trying. Do you remember when those kids were racist against you? Because he was in a predominantly white area, and being black, they was racist. So came up to us, and we taught you a thing or two, innit? Yeah. And then he beat the crap out of them. Well done, Richie. Do Uncle proud. Yeah. So, he learned a bit of martial arts, and boy, this man's got power. Even at a little age, he had power. And I remember, you did me proud then. So he's not a geek, he's not a nerd. Okay, we both are. But he can fight. You know what I'm saying? So he's like very kind of dynamic, very flexible. So he covers all angles. You you've been brought with Dave, you saw all the gangster stuff, you've seen the film industry, you've been writing, you're a writer, now you know mathematics. He loves to study space, yep,
Yeah.
astrology, space,
Comedy.
comedy as well.
Yeah.
But we both have a shared interest with, you know, the universe and space and planets and systems.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
the multiverse.
Yeah.
We
But
both-
you
I mean,
both-
it's everything that sort of you don't know sort of
Yeah.
attracts you. Everything you can't understand, you want to understand, and that's ultimately why I'm attracted to that sort of stuff. You know, we only know sort of 0.01% of, you know, the entire universe. You know, and that's just our solar system. Really, we've got these massive superclusters that sort of are combined into this tiny box that is a part of a whole universe of other boxes. And it really does come back to that sort of Socratic proposition of sort of to know something is to know nothing. And I think that sort of philosophical notion combined with how much we know about the universe is definitely true. And I don't think we'll ever get to the stage where we'll know everything, but sort of that journey and progression through that is what the journey is all about.
and then binary stars, exoplanets, all things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, black holes,
yeah,
interdimensional travel.
yeah.
And you've
Um,
both shared the feelings and emotions through both of you being autistic as well.
Yeah, we both got Asperger's syndrome, which is pretty cool. It doesn't mean we're dumb. It means we're really intelligent, multi-talented, multi-skilled. But our brain operates in a different way.
Do you feel that you've been misunderstood, Ax?
Yeah, and growing up was tough with that. But fortunately now things have changed for Richie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more understanding, whereas before it wasn't.
Yeah, but Richie's had to fight as well.
He has,
and
yeah.
had to
And-
fight through the bullying and being called a robot, and
Don't worry, he can take care of
Yeah.
himself now.
so.
Uncle taught him.
But it's
So
one of
did
those
you.
things where we said that
Yeah.
life shouldn't be like that, and you shouldn't have to fight those battles. But sitting here today, watching you both talk, and you've both come a long way fighting through it.
But I think really, you've done a lot. And I think as his mum, you've been a mum and a dad as well. Yeah. And I think that without you, he couldn't have made it as far as he has. Right? And he's obviously inherited your intelligence because you're highly intellectual and multi-talented too. So the three of us, we operate really well together. You know, there's no arguments, we just work, we just operate. So when we do a project together, we get it done. There's no arguing, there's no misunderstandings, there's no chalk and cheese. Like, we're in synchronicity together, the three of us. But we have to give props to your mum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she has been the sort of brains behind my success,
Yes.
and the sort of the motivation behind my success. And, you know, it's all right having the talent, it's all right having the sort of ability to do certain things, but if
Yeah.
you have no one to sort of motivate those abilities out of you, no one to sort of motivate you to sort of embark on your own individual journey, you know, then you're just sort of stuck in a sort of halted state of progression. Well, like most people are, or most people who are stuck in these emotional turmoil and situations, they don't actually have someone like my mother who was there to sort of motivate them through those dark times. So I'm an extremely lucky person, but I think it's sort of a combination of ability and luck. But if you're going to sort of survive in this modern world, you really need to have a combination of those factors.
Also,
Yeah.
I feel you motivated me as well, equally. You fed us both. You looked after us. You know, I think you've been a motivation for. Yeah, you've been a key component to both of us. In fact, yeah, and I think that, you know, it's the three of us. We just function so well.
Because I
Unity.
believed in you,
Thank you.
and I still do believe in you both. And, you know, sitting here and looking at you both now and how much both of you have achieved, one, it makes it all worth it. Secondly, it makes me feel I was right to believe in you.
Thank you.
But the sad part of it is that there's a lot of children and young adults who don't have that.
No.
And I can see both of you being the inspiration and channeling the path for the young ones
Thank you.
that haven't been understood. And I know it's been hard with the autism for both of you, but you've come through. But I have noticed with the autism, even though both of you went through such a troubled time, you never once blamed anybody,
No.
and you never once cried.
No, we don't do that,
No,
do we?
yeah,
You just-
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to be strong.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are times when you have to sort of admit that you're struggling, and you have to sort of have that personal moment with yourself. But other than that, if you show fear to the world, then they will smell it and they will come for you. You know, we live in a sort of dog-eat-dog society. We live in a society that's, you know, constantly, you know, overrun by sort of sharks and people with their own self-interest. And if they see blood, then they will follow it. And I think that's probably the reason why we have been in this sort of, you know, state of keeping ourselves to ourselves, and sort of what we've incurred from the post-war, you know, that blitz spirit that society had inherited from the fact that they have to get on with their situations amidst all the bombs that were raging through Western Europe. So, I mean, that's been my spirit, and that's been Axis spirit. But as you say, Bob, hopefully we'll come to that point where we don't need to do it anymore. But a bit like racism and a bit like prejudice, we'll never get to that point where we'll reach full acceptance, because it is something that is far ingrained into the mindset of civilization. That is nothing we sort of can scrub out completely. It's sort of thousands and thousands of years of indoctrination. It's sort of these Western conceptualizations of aesthetic and these delusions of art and what beauty actually is, has actually diverted us away from sort of recognizing things that are ugly, that are actually beautiful, but we don't recognize it as that, because ultimately art has sold us a lie. So we'll never get rid of those prejudices, but what we can do is we can learn to reach some level of acceptance, and the key is in the word some. So as long as we reach that sort of some level, which we are still quite far away from, then we can sort of have a general consensus on, you know, appreciating people.
But I can see that you're laying the foundations and pathing the way for others to follow. And I do believe years to come, watching this video and the massive achievements that will come through this will be so rewarding to yourselves and to many others who have walked the path.
Funnily enough, we all believe in God. But Richie found God through science, right?
Yeah, well, I found God through, you know, life.
Yeah.
You know, when I needed him the most, he was there for me, and there's nothing you can sort of really share with other people. You know, it's only something you can experience yourself. I mean, people are very nihilistic, and they like to sort of deny that there is a God. Even if it did hit them in the face, they will still probably deny it, because that is just the ignorance of human civilization and of human knowledge as well. You know, but you know, it's just it happens to you when you listen to the signs and when you seek them out. You know, it's not so much as you finding God, but God finding you. And I've definitely experienced that in my life, and I believe that there is more to come of that.
I found him to be key to all our lives, and we've been through our sicknesses, and we've said our prayers. We've been there for each other. God's been there for us, and we've all come out of it. I mean, we've all had very traumatic past, especially with sickness. We even had the same sickness, didn't we? So, you know, but you had it really bad as well, and so
I think it's all about having your mind, body and soul balanced, that when one isn't, the other can't function.
yes,
And if you look at the three of us, we are the mind, body and soul.
we are, yes,
And it's a connection to the universe and finding that there is someone bigger than you,
yes,
and
definitely.
knowing that, you know, and some call it God, some call it the universe, but just knowing that we are nothing compared to
Well, faith is very important in your life. I mean, if you don't have faith in your life, even if it is any sort of faith, it doesn't need to be God, but just having faith in something. Because if you have faith in nothing, then it's ultimately a lawless and nihilistic society, and that's where people ultimately become self-destructive.
Absolutely, absolutely. Axe, your final words to Richie. Now this is the final time you'll see him for another 5 years. Now he's off to university.
I don't need any words because we're on the same frequency. So as far as I'm concerned, he's gonna just do more than okay, yeah. And I think that he's prepared enough to be a leader himself and a role model, a mentor. He's learned enough and he's developed his own personality and his own way of doing and dealing with things, and you know, he's become his own original, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that it's not much. I mean, I think we're both pretty content on how he's turned out.
Yeah.
I can't really say anything. I think, to be honest, you say that to someone who doesn't know what they're doing, but this dude knows everything. He knows exactly where he's going, exactly what he's doing, and his next moves, and I'm fully confident in that.
Thank you.
And he will be victorious. You will, won't you?
Well, hopefully, yes. That's if sort of doomsday doesn't become victorious over us.
Don't worry, God will protect us.
Richie, what would your final words be to Axe before you come back after 5 years?
Okay, so sort of adopting the slogan of the 2008 golf commercials, and the only person you have to beat is yourself.
Exactly.
Thank you.